Joining me now is Senator Robert Menendez, Democrat from New Jersey. He joined with other Democrats today to urge Congress to pass the first portion of the president's jobs bill. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. What will it take to get this bill passed, Senator?
Well, I hope voices from across the country. This is something that should be clearly bipartisan. Teachers, 400,000 educators that we'd save for our children's classrooms across this country. And we've seen from parents across the country in my home state of New Jersey who have seen those classroom sizes rise and many of the critical courses be no longer offered. About putting first responders, police and firefighters, how quickly we forgot that on September 11th, that fateful day, those who responded was not the federal government, it was local police and firefighters to that tragedy.
Now,
and so we need to put them back on the beat as well. Just
so people understand it, Senator, this bill that we now have before the Senate, because they would not give the votes needed to have the whole bill, so now we're going piece by piece. And this first piece are first responders and teachers. This is what the Republicans are threatening to say no to, as you're laying out the first responders that we depend on.
Absolutely. This is the Teachers and First Responders Back to Work Act. We need to take teachers off the unemployment line back in the classroom. We need to take firefighters and police officers off the unemployment line and back on the beat and protecting our communities. I remember, Reverend Sharpton, how all of the members of Congress after September 11 wanted to take their pictures with police and firefighters. We call them heroes. They are heroes. We need to respond to that by making sure they're back at work protecting us, and we need to get our teachers back in the classroom educating our children so that the nation can be competitive in the future. That's what this is all about. And as you pointed out so well, 75% of Americans say, yes, this is a good idea. 63% of Republicans say, yes, this is a good idea. And we pay for all of this by 0.5% surtax on millionaires and those above $1 million.
Well, you know what is baffling to me? When we talk about, Senator, that the 75%, three-quarters of the American public poll wants this, even 63%, almost two-thirds of Republicans. Why would this be a hard one? But then when I look at the fact that when we look at this poll, which is very startling, this poll that says, the question was asked, do you hope the president succeeds or fails? Among Republicans, 39% said they hope he succeeds, 51% say he will fail. We've become so partisan that against the interests of our country, with first responders and teachers, I mean, you can't get more vital than that. 51% are saying, I'd rather see the president fail. I mean, it is amazing to me.
Well, that's what's happened here the last 2 years. Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, has said, my #1 priority is to make Barack Obama a one-term president. And then he goes to work every day to ensure that happens by stopping passage in the United States Senate by use of that procedure we call the filibuster, where you need a supermajority of the Senate to pass anything, not the simple majority we used to learn growing up that 50+1 is a majority. Here in the Senate, he has made it 60. And so the result of that is that very little gets passed here, and that's a way of effectuating that Barack Obama be a one-term president. The problem is you're not hurting Barack Obama, you're hurting the country, and that's what's at stake, and that's why we should pass this bill to get our teachers back into the classroom and our police and firefighters back on the beat.
Well, but hold the presses, because Eric Cantor has put out, he's going to make a major speech on Friday. And all of us can't wait. And in fact, we tried to find out in advance what he's going to say. This may shock and amaze you, but let me give you the forecast from one of his top aides. One of his aides says, and I'm quoting, he's going to speak, this is what the aide told Politico, on how we can make sure people at the top stay there. Sounds like a confession in the police station to me when you've been charged with taking people's money and giving it to the rich.
Well, it certainly isn't about the conversation I thought he said he was going to have about income inequality in this country, which has risen dramatically. Middle-class families are struggling harder than ever before, and that started before this president took office. And the reality is what we were left behind with not a great recession, but a near depression, has been what we've been working out of. But we want to help those middle-class working families and those struggling to get into the middle class. You don't do it by having them sacrifice at every turn and then say to those at the very top that Mr. Cantor is quoted as saying there, or his staff is quoted as saying, let's make sure you stay at the very top while the rest of America is challenged and the rest of America has to sacrifice.
And you know what is so, to me, humiliating to people that need jobs, need relief, that have nothing to do with the Beltway debate or the media debate, none of that are really trying to make ends meet, seriously trying to figure out how they're going to get through this. And we're playing these distractive games. Look at all these Republicans that all they're talking about is the president's bus. I don't care if he was riding a tractor. If we're talking about jobs, why are we obsessing on the president's bus? A bus, by the way, that was the same that McCain used and that they made two for the Republican candidate this time. But what are we talking about, the vehicle, rather than talking about what we're riding in hopes to achieve? Watch this of what Republicans are saying, Senator Menendez.
Well, you know,
now the president's riding around on a bus.
A bus tour that the president is on, and a lot of it is centered around the bus. And I didn't need a bus. Now there has been another bus purchased for whoever the Republican nominee is. The Republican nominee may not want a bus.
And you have the president traveling around the country in $1 million Canadian-made bus.
Senator, if he got on a bicycle, would they then vote to give the teachers and first responders jobs?
You know, Reverend Sharpton, if in fact we had the cooperation of Republicans in the Congress, the president wouldn't have to go on the road to sell to the American people what they want and get them to get their members of Congress to act responsibly. So there wouldn't be any need to go on the road. The only reason the president's on the road is because they are intransigent and convinced that the way they get to achieve power in a majority in the Congress and the presidency of the United States is to have the president fail. So the president is talking directly to the American people. And all this other talk, you know, it's the old story about a lawyer. If he has the facts, he argues the facts. If he has the law, he argues the law. And if he doesn't have the facts or the law on his sides, he bangs on the table and creates a distraction. This is all a distraction.
That's all it is. Senator Menendez, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
And thanks for your fighting for the jobs bill in the Senate, too.
Thank you.